Hey everyone, welcome to the Political Insider. I'm your humble host, Brett Smith. Joining me today is a good friend and a special guest. Kurt Schlichter is a senior columnist at townhall.com, a retired Army infantry colonel, a lawyer, and best-selling author of the Kelly Turnbull series available on Amazon. Kurt, great to have you back.
Great to be here.
So since you're my favorite lawyer, I wanted to get your
take.
It's
like saying you're my favorite STD.
It's like in Full Metal Jacket when he says, when Joker says to Cowboy, "You're my favorite turd." That's kind of what I was thinking. But nice. I mean, undeniably affectionately, you're my favorite lawyer on the right. I wanted to get your take on the Trump indictment because I'm not sure the average person looking at this really understands what it means overall for the rule of law and how it will affect, basically the average American citizen. I think the first impression people have is I've never paid off a mistress or a Playboy playmate, so how does this really affect me and maybe say my neighbor? Sure, they're going after Trump, but so what? They're going after, they're ideologically profiling now. It's kind of like the, driving while black for Republicans. So with that in mind, please explain how damaging this is to our legal system for those that don't think it's a big deal, and how it will affect the average American citizen, maybe we'll say to attorney-client privilege at the very least.
Well, first of all, you don't need to be asking me as a lawyer about this because this isn't law in any meaningful sense. This is a raw abuse of power. Even liberal commentators are taking a look at this bullshit indictment and just going, no, this isn't a thing.
Right.
This isn't it. So it's a joke. It's unbelievably damaging. People it's destroying the norms. Yeah. We knew that. It's just another step down the road. My only hope is that it encourages Republicans to understand we're in a new world where we are not going to give deference to people who are political actors, and that we're just going to simply apply the law wherever we think there's something suspicious. So watch out, stock picking champ Nancy Pelosi, because I'm very interested in seeing how well you did. Now, before I would have said, well, we don't have any real evidence of a particular crime, but now we have a vague suspicion. So that's kind of enough to go after her because, as you know, it's important to decide that you're going to go pick an enemy and indict them for something.
Right.
Since that's the rule, well, I suggest we do. And again, I'm not suggesting we frame Democrats. Democrats are trying to frame Trump. That is, convict him of a crime he did not commit. And what they're tying here is just not a crime. I mean, to talk about it in a legal sense is to give it more credit than it's due. Mm. It's a joke. It is what I'm saying is get rid of the idea that we don't use lawfare as a tool against our political enemies when they hand us a opportunity. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Cori Bush, right, in Missouri, which is a red state. Well, she's all wrapped up in super corrupt BLM. Mm-hmm. And I think she's somebody to look into. Let's find out. She's spending where's she getting all this money for her security? Where's all this stuff coming from? I mean, these are important questions. And before I would have said, well, unless you see like somebody tiptoeing over with a bag with a $$ sign on it, maybe you don't go and investigate her. But now that's not the rule. And I believe that the rule applied equally and good and hard.
Kevin McCarthy has said that he intends to hold fat Alvin Bragg accountable for weaponizing the justice system. What can Congress and House Republicans really do to hold Bragg accountable or stop him?
Nothing, unless he comes there and lies. And then maybe you have perjury that someday a DOJ can try him for. Mm-hmm. In freaking Washington, D.C. This is why I would, if I was them, hold hearings outside of Washington, D.C., in venues where you can get a real jury. Down the road, as part of our Operation Payback, I would suggest that what we do is get the Republicans to change the law in venue. That is, somebody can be charged. Somebody who commits a crime in Washington, D.C. can actually be charged in Maryland or Virginia. So you don't have a Washington, D.C. jury, which will always convict a Republican and never convict a Democrat.
Right. Do you think Bragg's case collapses before it ever gets to trial in December?
Well, Look, the case is going to end when it gets to the U.S. Supreme Court, which it will through convoluted means. Yeah. Until then, if this was a real case, it would be gone this week based on a motion to dismiss. It's not a real case. You got a judge who is a partisan, a donor. His daughter works for this guy's the guy, she works for Kamala Harris, who is actually running against Donald Trump next year. Yeah. Possibly. It's, he's not going to dismiss the case, and it should be dismissed. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, not a legal case. If this was anyone else, he'd look at it and go, okay, I see a number of problems, including you haven't mentioned the felony you're talking about. The statute of limitations this is complete bullshit. Get out of my courtroom. That's what would happen in any other case. And that's what should happen in this one. But it won't, because the judge is not going to do that.
Yeah. I if you're a conservative and you live in Manhattan, if it's not for work, why are you there? You must be into self-abuse. I mean, I'm convinced of that at this point. It's get out of blue cities.
New York used to be fun to visit for a few days, kind of like Vegas with better food.
Exactly.
And less gambling.
Yeah.
And now it's just a hellhole. And there is no luck. Look, this is a town that lets people who actually murder people go. But if you defend yourself, if you literally take the gun away from the guy who just shot you and shoot him, you get charged not only with attempted murder, but with possession of a gun.
Right.
I mean, and you have to be browbeaten before that's taken off, but not before you're handcuffed to your bed and arrested. So you now have a freaking rap sheet. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This is, it's not about the law. This is a Soros-backed prosecutor. I know I'm not supposed to say Soros's name because then, because Soros, well, screw them. He's a Soros-backed prosecutor. They're all the same. They persecute conservatives. They let go criminals. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them is exactly the same.
Speaking of Soros-backed candidates, what's your take on Wisconsin, the Supreme Court?
Well, another triumph for Rona.
Yeah.
Well, look, Wisconsin decided, hey, I got a great idea. The guy who lost by 10 points last time? Let's run him again. And he loses by 10 points. And let's not get a ground game. Mm-hmm. And let's not realize this is a real thing until way too late.
Yeah, this wasn't simply just getting outspent. Apparently, this guy did not run. He kind of ran away from populist ideas and sort of the MAGA template. Ronna,
that isn't why he lost.
Ronna said something about the fact that that voters were scared by the abortion. That suburban women are scared by abortion issues.
Yes, suburban women vote for abortion. That's something we need to realize. We got what we wanted. We wanted to go back to the states. Well, guess what? It's back in the states. And there's a lot of people out there, including many who would otherwise vote Republican, who will vote on baby killing.
Right.
Okay. What are we going to do about that? And bitch and cry is not it. As far as him running away from populism, the idea that he wasn't Trumpy enough is a poor analysis. They hung Trump around his head like a freaking millstone. Okay. All the ads were, this is Trump's pick. And you know what? It didn't help. Okay. If the other guys telling you, hey, this guy is super Trumpy, is not enough to get the Trumpy guys to go, oh, great. Well, I don't know what the answer is. The fact Trump hurt him there by being associated with him, abortion hurt him. I'm not happy about either of those things, but that's what happened. He was also not a great candidate. Again, a guy who lost by 10 points. We had another potential pick who may have done better. Primary voters didn't go for her. They went for this guy. Well, the funny thing is, you look at the other Wisconsin races, they won another seat in the Senate. They won 3 referendums. Now, doesn't that seem familiar? I seem to remember Georgia, where Stacey Abrams, lost re-election to the guy Trump hated by a lot, and yet Herschel Walker, who Trump picked, got crushed. Some voters are sending us a message. Okay, the one guy who was distinguished by his association with Trump lost. Now again, I like Trump. I voted for him twice. I'll vote for him if he's wins the primary. But the simple fact is, we have to be realistic. He has a ceiling, and there are people out there who hate him and hate anybody who's associated with him. Sure. So his attacks on DeSantis may actually help him some places.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, we'll talk about that in a minute. Our compadre Jesse Kelly tweeted the other day, not one Republican DA in the entire country has announced impending charges against a major Democrat. Not one. We will never win until the low T GOP starts hitting back. Like we're talking off air, it's only been 5 days, but
look, nobody loves Jesse more than I do.
Right.
Okay. I mean, Jesse's a good friend, and I think he's brilliant. I'll give him a couple more days. Okay. Yeah. If you want a headline yak today, if you want a headline for more than a couple days, you prepare a little. Right. And the thing is, the Democrats, the thing is, you look at the Republicans, like Bob O'Donnell in Virginia and everything, or Ted Stevens, and they have to go through these convoluted bullshit theories to try and get them, which inevitably get tossed out on appeal, because they're not really criminals. Democrats are freaking criminals. It's a disorganized crime family.
Yeah.
So there's real stuff out there.
Well, yeah, there's
was Nancy Pelosi just the world's greatest stock picker? Right. Is that an unknown talent that we didn't know about, but she's really, really good on equities? Come on.
Yeah, there's
so I understand, but I'll give them a little more time. If we want to do it right, if we want to do damage, let's do it right. If we want to look like fools, which I think Alvin Bragg eventually will, then we act too soon. But there is based stuff happening. You look in Tennessee, 3 dipshits in the legislature after some leftist murderer killed 6 Christians decide to take over the floor in concert, floor of the Senate in concert with a bunch of shitheads up in the peanut gallery. Right. And they get their bullhorn out and they start screaming. And all I could think of was, obstructing the work of a legislature. That's an insurrection.
Exactly.
And, the legislature's going to expel their asses. And they're like, wait, what? Well, but wait, what? Yeah. We're throwing you out.
Right.
Because you don't get to do it. And that's the rule now. And that's bigger than any bullshit, misdemeanor against some, liberal backbencher. Right. That's real stuff. And that's playing by their rules, and I like it. You saw what Disney did with DeSantis, right? They pulled, he was changing things, so they pulled a scam with their kept little committee to try and create a way to get around it. I thought they were really freaking smart. And DeSantis says, "Yeah, I'm investigating you, and it's a criminal investigation. And do not. And I'll tell you, you give me." You give me a pattern of conduct like that that's the least bit shady, I'll find you enough statutes working together in the Florida Penal Code to bring a couple guys from the mouse house to the big house.
Yeah, with regard to these Republican DAs targeting Hunter Biden, Bill and Hillary Clinton, maybe even Obama, do you think if that starts to happen, the left would back off?
I think that we would have one of two results. One result would be they say, hey, maybe we should go back to the old norms. And after appropriate punishment, I wouldn't mind that. The other is, at least we wouldn't be bitches. Okay, you cannot take shit and maintain morale. You have to, even if we're going to have, if we're going to have these norms, we've got to exercise them, because otherwise you look weak and stupid to your people.
Yeah, this seems to be kind of like bully 101. You don't sit there and take it. You kick the guy in the nuts as hard as possible, even if it's a cheap shot. You send
and
a
even
message.
if he kicks your ass after, at least you're not a bitch.
Exactly.
We can't go to our people and go, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, People operate on morale. People operate on emotion, and one of the key emotions is payback.
Yeah.
Or emotional drivers is payback.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And that's a great segue. One of the arguments I always hear from Republicans when it comes to fighting Dems, fire with fire is, well, we don't want to stoop to their level because then we're just as bad as them. Please explain why this is a bogus argument and why in war and politics, you never want to engage in a fair fight.
No, I remember being at the infantry school, and the trainers were like, no, we're going to ambush them and they're never going to know we're coming. And if you're fighting fair, you're losing. I'm not here to achieve some sort of moral approval from a bunch of sissies. I have a specific goal in mind, and I'm going to achieve that and do what I have to do it. Now, there can be guardrails. They've decided to lower them. All right. I don't support framing people. That is, convicting them of crimes they didn't commit. I do support not giving people the presumption that we're not going to target our political foes to identify actual crimes they've committed. Because if that's the rule, then let's do it. The simple fact is you can find or manufacture a crime about anybody.
Sure. As
we've seen. For them, mostly it's manufacturing. Mm-hmm. So the stoop to, I'm not interested in any principle that makes me less free. And that seems to be the 2005 class's idea of principles. Look at us. We're taking it good and hard. Aren't we swell? And it doesn't it doesn't impress me that you managed to lose.
Right.
Okay. I think you're weak and stupid, and I have nothing but contempt for you. I don't respect you. I don't think you're a better person. I think you're a worse person because you're essentially betraying all the people relying on you to protect them by giving up those protections. Mm-hmm. That is your power, so that you can feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I don't think people like that who adhere to this, there's some kind of virtue in losing because we're playing by the rules. I don't think they can refer to themselves as conservatives because they don't conserve really anything.
Well, no, they're the cruise ship conservatives.
Exactly.
and the reason they're so angry is they were held accountable. Mm-hmm. What happened is people suddenly said, wait a minute, what have you actually done? And then they're like, wait, what? Who are you to expect me to actually achieve something? Didn't you read my last article on American greatness, conservatism? Here's some Winston Churchill cliches.
Right.
Right. It's, and look, Winston Churchill didn't take guff. Winston Churchill frickin' kill a bitch.
Not from anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And these guys, there is no honor in betraying your people by not zealously defending their interests. We pick our conservative leaders to go out and defend our interests, mm-hmm. to make sure that we remain free and prosperous and secure. And if you're not delivering those things, you're not doing your job. Okay. The test is, am I free, prosperous, and secure? Not, does David French feel good about himself?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point. The cruise ship class, the Ahoy conservatives that we like to talk about. So let's jump over to Trump. You've been very vocal about how you don't like Trump, how he's attacking Ron De Santis.
Well, no, I do like Trump. I don't like some of the things he's doing.
Right. I should. Yeah. His attacks on Ron De Santis, you haven't been too hot on. However, I don't see any difference in what Trump is doing now with DeSantis and how he attacked other Republicans in the 2016 primaries.
Bingo.
When one of these guys would start to poll higher and become a threat to him, he would go after him. And let's not forget, Trump made fun of Rand Paul's hair. He mocked Ben Carson as having a pathological temper when Carson allegedly tried to stab his friend as a kid. He made fun of Ted Cruz's wife, called into question her connections to Goldman Sachs and lobbyists. He even talked about some crazy conspiracy theory which involved Ted Cruz's dad and the assassination of
Absolutely
JFK.
right. You are correct about all those things.
Carly Fiorino, the horse face, and of course we all laughed our asses off when he dubbed Marco Rubio, sweaty little Marco. That being said, how are things different for 2024? And isn't Trump just being Trump?
Well, it's different in 2024 because it's not 2016. We've had 8 years of this. You know, he came down the escalator about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
As Alinsky pointed out, you continue with something long enough, it becomes a drag. And I got to tell you, I thought some of it was amusing back in 15 and 16. And I think a lot of it's stupid now. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of other voters are really tired of the Trump drama. The stuff's exhausting. Now, I understand, you know, you don't have the same Trump who stood up for Kavanaugh without, you know, having a Trump that writes mean tweets about Rosie O'Donnell. It's the same energy.
Absolutely.
But I got to tell you, I'm bored. And I think a lot of it's stupid. And I'm not interested in it. And it makes me think less of him, and I'm not alone. Now, other people may go, this is great. Well, you got to vote on what you like. But here's the fact. He won Wisconsin in 16, and he lost it in 20. Won Michigan, lost it in 20. Won Michigan, or Pennsylvania, lost it in 20. Won Georgia, lost it in 20. And I know, well, the election stuff. Don't care. Your job's to win. Not to provide an excuse that somebody else was mean to you and stole your election. I don't care. Your job's to get past that. And it wasn't like he wasn't warned. Okay. He knew the cheat was coming. He's the guy who was to get around the cheat. He didn't make it happen. So I don't want to hear about, well, he didn't really lose. Hey, is he in the White House? No, lost. I don't take excuses from politicians. My job is not here to explain why Donald Trump's failure to win is really a success or why his alienation of a lot of people is really okay. I like Donald Trump. I would be happy to have him as president again. I'll vote for him eagerly if he wins the primary. I don't know if I'll vote for him in the primary. I haven't seen the primary. And the primary is a time when you do attack other people. I resent and find very annoying, stupid attacks that are lies. Okay? The idea that somehow DeSantis is in hock with the Bushes because he allowed, let me get this straight. He allowed the former Republican president governor of Florida to attend his inauguration. So he's a secret Bush supporter. Okay, that's stupid and insults my intelligence. And if you say that as an argument, you're stupid or you think I'm stupid. And neither one of those is going to make me sympathetic to your boss. I don't expect Trump to be anything but Trump, but I and a significant number of other people find some of the stuff really stupid and annoying. You know, I don't want to hear about, you know, my favorite thing is, the people using old tweets where Ron De Santis said, hey, Chris Wray is a good choice for FBI directors, if that's like a hit on the guy who praised Trump for picking and not firing Wray. I don't like being treated like I'm stupid. Okay? If you're offering those seriously, you're stupid. If you're offering them because you think I'm stupid, you're pissing me off. In neither way is it helping you. I like Trump. And what I see is a lot of people who demand nothing from him, who simply fall on their knees and try and suck on his toes. I like Trump enough to say, you're wrong and you shouldn't do this. I have never experienced a guy in public life more in need of a command sergeant major who can shut the door and say, sir, you're screwing up. And there's no one in Trump world who can do that. And that's, you know, but I accept that. That's who Trump is. I'm just not going to go along with it. I think Ron DeSantis has done a great job. He has concrete achievements, and I'm not interested in him being slandered or anyone else being slandered simply to win in a primary, because this is us. We're not talking to the Dems here. We're talking to our Republicans. So if you're saying something that's demonstrably false, you're lying to other Republicans, and that I don't like. I also don't like the attacks on Trump. He has been victimized in ways no one else has. He has been gravely wrong, and we are all right to come to his defense in this time of complete political bullshit, which everybody is doing. But the idea that we're somehow morally obligated to not have a primary because Trump got indicted, well, that's just stupid, and I'm not doing that.
I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, I liked the 2016 primary. I thought it was.
So did I.
I thought it was awesome, and I thought that we had finally sort of departed from that kindler, gentler politics, politicking that we had, and we went back to sort of smash mouth politics. And I'm looking forward to this next primary. I want a vigorous fight because these guys are gladiators, and the toughest one is the one we send into the general.
Look, the real thing about, I think we get so wrapped up about how Carly Fiorina is not attractive that we forget the real magic of Trump. The service he did with us was to legitimize discussion of issues that the establishment, including the Republicans, had declared off limits, like illegal immigration.
Right.
That was the thing that Trump did that was so radical. Not that he was just kind of an ass to people.
Yeah.
That he was talking about the stuff that they told him you are not allowed to talk about.
Right.
And I'd like to see more of that. You know, you listen to a lot of what Trump says substantively, and it's great stuff. But he's got some explaining to do. I want to know how you're going to win this time because you didn't last time. And I don't want to relitigate 2020. If you're interested in relitigating 2020, move on. I want to hear what you've learned about personnel and how you're going to change next time.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm not particularly impressed by his personnel choices. He was out there. He was backing Ronna McDaniel. And I have dumb people going, no, he wasn't. I literally, with my eyes, watched his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, lobbying for Ronna McDaniel at the RNC meeting. Mm-hmm. I literally watched it. Don't tell me it's not so. I sat there and watched it happen. Okay? That is not a great personnel choice. Okay? On the other hand, he was right about Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy's done a great job, which I did not expect.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
I also want to know how he plans to get along with Mitch McConnell, because Mitch ain't going anywhere. And you don't have to like Mitch to realize you got to deal with him. So how's that going to go? I'm
still up in the air on that. You and I talked about that a couple interviews ago, how Mitch might be setting himself up to maybe step away and retire.
Well, maybe he is.
Given his age and kind of where he's at. But who knows?
He recently had that problem. Who's going to take over? But, how are you going to work with the Senate? Because last time, where's my wall? Where's my wall?
Well, who wants that job? Who wants that job and who can do that job currently?
Great question.
Currently in there. Can Rick Scott do that? I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, Rick Scott can't do it.
Yeah.
John Thune, the Marvel villain name guy. Cornyn's a disaster.
Yeah.
Utter disaster. He's out there, oh my gosh, with helping Democrats on gun control.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, maybe we need a better policy in Ukraine because it doesn't seem to be working to our benefit. He's like, well, Winston Churchill would be all upset with you. And it's like, okay, Cornyn, shut up.
Yeah, he's an embarrassment to Texas.
A hack cliche about Winston Churchill is not an answer to the grave problems with our Ukraine policy. And of course, I'm sympathetic to Ukraine. I went and trained their soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
that's a hoy. That's what that is.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I don't buy that. It seems, getting back to Trump, I think he's talking less and less about 2020, which I think is very good. And mainly focusing on the only guy who's really threatening him right now, which is Ron De Santis. However, he's pulling so far ahead of him in nationals that who knows if he's going to even, get stuck on that for much longer. But again, it's like Rush used to say, people are not even dialed into this thing until probably 30 to 60 days prior to the actual general. So
it's a year from
a year and a half. It's like an eternity in politics.
Look, we have a year until, Super Tuesday's done.
Right.
A year from now, Super Tuesday will be like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I understand rallying around Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think I would like to poke my finger in their eye right now and just say, well, you're going to try and frame him. I'm supporting him.
Sure.
But the issue for me is not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is fungible like all politicians.
Absolutely.
If not him, someone else.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him, and I think we stand up for him. But that doesn't mean we give him the nomination unless he demonstrates he is the guy most likely to win in November.
Yeah.
There's my criteria.
Yeah,
that's what's going to guide my vote. And the problem with Trump is he has a ceiling. There are people who will never vote for him. There are fewer people who will never vote for, say, Ron De Santis, or maybe Nikki Haley, though she's terrible in many, many ways. You got to convince me you're the most likely to win. I'm utterly unsentimental about politicians, completely. I don't care about his feelings. I don't care if he was wronged about the election. He was. And in some cosmic sense, yeah, he deserves another term. I'm not interested in cosmic senses.
He's got to earn it. We can all believe that he deserves that, but he's got to earn it.
And I have very close friends who support Trump in the primary, very close, who are all in right now. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm a lawyer. I can construct you a very good case for voting for Donald Trump in the primary, or at least a coherent one. Sure. I'm not sure it's totally convincing to everybody, but a coherent one. It's there. But, Ron DeSantis is bought by Soros. That is not the case. And that just pisses me off because I feel like I'm insulted because that's so stupid.
Yeah.
If you want to say, look, Ron DeSantis is great in Florida, but, he's never had national level experience. And he'll be there for 2028. Okay, that's a reasonable argument. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's an argument that doesn't say you're an idiot if you believe this.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of dismisses our process. Like I said, the primaries is Thunderdome, and we want those men to go in and one to come out.
I want them to go in, but I refuse to let them insult me.
Yeah.
See, it's not so much Ron DeSantis is a near pedophile because when he was a teacher, he had beers with some teenage girls. Okay, that's just stupid, and it makes me think you think I'm stupid, which makes me very mad.
That sounds like Dem Oppo research. That's what that sounds like to me.
And it's annoying.
Yeah.
Or Casey DeSantis doesn't use her first name. What's up with that? Okay, you're thinking I'm stupid, and now I'm mad.
Right. Yeah, some of this stuff is laughable, and it's not worthy of any of our time. So I'm just looking forward to a vigorous, tough primary. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be enjoyable to watch, and let the best man win because, like Rush used to say, at the end of the day, you and I both believe, are kind of adhere to the same wisdom, which is whoever the candidate is. I don't care if it's Daffy Duck. I'm voting for him.
Oh yeah,
because anything else, it's just a vote for Biden.
Absolutely. I also find the people who say I will never vote for Trump annoying. Yeah. I think that is misguided, and I think people I will only vote for Trump. Don't treat me like I'm stupid, and don't ever give me an ultimatum.
Right.
Because that's not going to go the way you hope.
Well, and it's like Rumsfeld said, famously, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you wish you had.
Exactly.
And that's what the general's about.
Exactly. And you know what? Whoever wins the general has won the general. This is the game. This is the rules. Somebody wins it. I'm willing to play. I played by the rules last time in 2016. I was a Ted Cruz guy. I actually wrote checks to Ted Cruz.
Right.
And then Ted Cruz lost. He lost fair and square. He did not convince enough Republicans. So Republicans chose Trump. I sighed because that wasn't my decision, but I got on board because I'm in the game, and I'm going to play by the rules.
Yeah.
And the rules are, we all come together after the convention.
And everybody did.
We did, and somehow managed to thread the needle in some miracle. That's the other thing, for Trump to win, he needs to thread the needle like 15 times in a row.
Yeah, I know.
That's... it's possible, as in law, you're like, well, Mr. Jones, is it possible that so-and-so didn't run a red light? Well, anything's possible.
Yeah, man, space flight's possible.
Yeah, man, sometimes it's just really hard.
Yeah, big time. That's a great point. Everyone did kiss and make up after the primaries. Sweaty little Marco, Cruz, everybody.
Ted Cruz was a little petulant.
Yeah, but I think everyone everyone saw that there are much bigger threats than each other, and that's the Democrats. So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, we all came together as a team, and I think that's important.
Well, I don't know if Trump's going to do that. He will not run third party. He doesn't have the money.
Nah.
And let's just say it takes a lot of organization to get on 50 ballots and put together a campaign. And organizing personnel is not Donald Trump's strong suit, nor is spending his own money.
Yeah.
And by the way, look at how much he's raised. People are going, he's raised $5 million in the last week. That's not a lot of money.
And again, we're so far out. And the one thing that I am a little bit concerned about is peaking early. It's never a good thing to peak early, and you're a year and a half out. We don't even know what the issues are going to be a year and a half out.
Yeah, people said De Santis has peaked early. Well, maybe Trump's peaking early.
It's possible.
Maybe we'll see the Nikki Haley peak. Maybe the Asa Hutchinson.
Yeah, Asa heads. I think that's what you called them last time.
Asa heads. Asa holes.
It's perfect.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I think these people just run so they can run a campaign and spend very, very, thrifty. And then at the end of the campaign, just keep whatever they didn't spend, and then also use it to get on CNN or MSNBC as some, disgruntled conservative who can sit there and wax poetic with S.E. Cupp.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, at best it's delusional. At worst, it's cynical.
Chris Christie, dude. I mean, come on.
It's never going to happen.
No.
Might have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it isn't happening now. It's just not going to happen. These
It's
guys are all the fetch of American politics. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of 2000. I remember the first guy I ever voted for in my life.
It's cute how the first time you voted was 2000.
First time I voted was 2000 in the primaries. And I thought, and I was not a George W. Bush guy, I thought the best person that America needed was a black evangelical conservative. So I voted for Alan Keyes, and that didn't work out. So
I didn't do so great.
Yeah. I mean, even though he was probably the best orator and probably the most entertaining, from the standpoint of the debates, people wanted Bush. And then, come the general, I sucked it up and went and voted for George W. Bush, who at the very least I thought was a likable guy and somebody you'd want to at least
you're wrong
barbecue a beer with. I was very wrong about that as well. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, hey, sadly, we're out of time. Kurt, go ahead and give everyone your social media coordinates so everyone knows where to find you. And
follow me on Twitter at Kurt Schlichter. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm on Town Hall. Go get my book, Inferno. It's amazing. And go to my On Locals page, the Schlichter Arena. You can get all your Kurt stuff there, including a link to the Ruthless podcast, which I did to great success this week.
Nice.
It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty amazing. We had a good time.
We'll link to all that stuff in the comments below. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate your insight, and we'll do it again.
Thank you. Adios.